Development education was something that a lot of us knew nothing about going into doing the TY module on it. But once it was explained to us what it was about and what it involved and all that, it seemed like a subject that was really worth doing, and it had some wider bearing on the state of the world rather than just in our own kind of little bubble in TY in school. So it had kind of a broader outlook on things. So for me personally, that's
I didn't really know what to expect going into the class. Yeah, didn't know what it was going to be about, didn't really know much about what was going on, and I was kind of surprised that we were all listening to each other, and I learned loads. There's kind of two parts to it. One part was our book, which we sent away for submissions for, and we wrote to famous people that went to Africa, students in our school and in other schools, and we compiled this book called 2015. And then another part to our project was Poverty Week, which we got to live a week in poverty, and it was all about empathising with people in poverty, kind of walking in their shoes. And the two parts were all about really raising awareness about extreme poverty. That was our main focus.
We were kind of shocked by how little we knew about these Millennium Promises and stuff like that, and how kind of they just kind of slipped out of public consciousness a lot. But that was what we kind of tried to achieve through our book and through our Poverty Week, and we were helped on a lot by development education, because we never would have known about it in the first place if it hadn't been for that class, basically.
Yeah, development education is kind of, you take what you want to do and you do it. Like, you research in your own time, you kind of move the class where you want to go with it.
We also worked with another school with our project. We worked with St. Peter's de Dunboyne, which was like really fun because we haven't really worked with other schools. Like, we play against them in football matches and stuff like that, but to work together with a school, which is like so far away from us, we had, like, you needed unbelievable communication skills, because we spoke like maybe once a week, twice a week with each other, but yet to pull off such a big project, it was just amazing.
I think we got a kind of a broader understanding of the world around us, and a greater appreciation for the things we have. And there was a lot in terms of kind of perspective, because we learn about these people in just poverty-stricken places, like, and you know, you'd think about something you'd said that morning about giving out about something really kind of pointless, and that didn't, you know, in the broader scheme of things, like, wasn't actually that bad. So for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, it was great for giving perspective on how lucky we are and how much work there is still to be done to bring the developing world up to speed with the rest of the world.
Yeah, it definitely gave us all more confidence to speak about these things, and each individual person in our YSI class had a special talent, like something that we could use. So it was really great to see people's, you know, personalities shining through. Like, not only was it about raising awareness, which was the main part of it, but for us personally, we got so much more out of it. Like, we became so much more confident and able to express our opinions better. We didn't want to be like the rich kids, you know, talking about poverty, saying, oh, we're going to help all the poor people. So that is, again, why we did the Poverty Week, which was like, it was a highly diluted version of poverty, but it was brilliant. It was amazing to see. Like, we came in to YSI one day and Miss Lee wasn't there. So we said, we'll write up the rules for Poverty Week. And we were like, oh, we'll have no hair straighteners and no mobile phones and no internet and everything. And sure, we'll be gone for the week, it's fine. But it was so hard. Like, by the first day, we were all coming in going, what have we gotten ourselves into? Like, and it was only for 5 days.
As we were researching for our project, we would have, as well as ringing up a lot of international NGOs and like, what can you tell us about this, you know? We kind of chanced our arm and rang a lot of other organisations as well. We ended up ringing the Simon community and a lot of things like that. So we kind of learned that just poverty isn't like this kind of far off concept that only occurs in kind of sub-Saharan African countries where there's no food and you see them in ads on the telly and stuff like that. Like, it happens in Ireland as well, like every day. Like, if you walk around Dublin or somewhere, there's people sleeping out every day because they're living in poverty. So that was an issue that we became aware of. It's still poverty, I suppose, but I suppose it's kind of, we're aware of the issue of poverty at home, as well as abroad in far-flung places whose names we can't pronounce and stuff like that.
What we did with our Poverty Week was NUI Maynooth helped us turn it into a resource, which means like it goes around to all different schools in Ireland, so they can actually do it themselves and they can like experience a bit of poverty for themselves, just to raise more awareness about it.
And it meant a lot to all of us, like every single one of us, like it really meant something. It wasn't as if like, oh, that person doesn't care so they won't do anything. Everybody really cared about what we were doing, so we all worked together and we all put in as much as we could.
I'd say by the middle of the year, maybe even the second month, we were all so passionate about this ending poverty. It was amazing. We knitted together.
So even if we had any kind of problems with people who were in our group that we didn't like or whatever, not naming any names, but we were able to kind of, even if we did have, not that we did, but if we would have, it was such a big and weighty issue, and it was so important that we were able to kind of put all that aside, and through putting that aside, we were kind of able to see people's dedication and able to respect them as people, and then we became friends. So that was a good offshoot of doing DevEd anyway.
What we were talking about the other day, we were saying how maybe we thought it was a good idea maybe to incorporate DevEd into CSPE, because that's for first, second and third years, and I think it would be really beneficial to any student that took DevEd.
Also, I think there's a danger among teachers in general for not giving junior students, like first, second and third years, enough credit for caring about the world around them. Like, and that's not that's kind of a common misconception about, first, second and third years, that all they really care about is running around and wrecking stuff. But if you give a first, a second or third year something to do and make them feel like what they do is valued, which it is in terms of development education, it's like among all those subjects like CSP and SPHE or any of those, I would feel that if DevEd were to be introduced, I think it'd be probably the most important of all of them because of how global and how broad it is. So I think in our school, there's a lot more work than you give first, second and third years credit for in relation to development education, like through CSP and through other avenues like that. So I think it'd be a great idea to introduce it from the ground up, even from primary school, so it's just a part of the consciousness then,
My little brother does a bit of DevEd in his primary school, and he'd be the first person to tell you to like, don't waste your food or recycle everything, that there's like so many other people that need it and like we're just throwing it away.
If we all learnt about development education 12, 13 years of age, there wouldn't be some of these problems in the world. We wouldn't be hearing racist jokes in the corridor. There wouldn't be as much of that.
Again, my kind of buzzword for the whole thing is perspective. Like, you spend the whole day doing English, Irish, maths, French, all that. It's kind of easy to get stuck in your little bubble of just have this to do, and I have to do it all for next week, or I'm gonna get detention or whatever. You go into DevEd, and you realise some of the problems that people have. Like things to do for next Tuesday, stay alive. So that was. It does broaden your mind, and I think it's if it was introduced en masse to schools, I think it'd be very good for the atmosphere in schools, because people wouldn't be bickering the whole time that their favourite bar isn't in the tuck shop or something like that. That's a very throwaway example, but it does give people perspective, and it gives people kind of an insight into how they should treat their fellow man, basically, or their fellow student.